Hi. In this session, we are going to discuss about continuous integration and Jenkins as a continuous integration tool. Not only continuous integration, it also supports continuous delivery and continuous deployment to the target machines. So this is the agenda that we are going to cover in this session. First, we will discuss about continuous integration. We will try to understand what continuous integration is and what is the target of doing continuous integration in our environment. Then we will discuss about Jenkins, which is a very powerful tool to implement continuous integration, continuous delivery, continuous deployment among Devops life cycle. We will see multiple demos around installing Jenkins and configuring nodes, master slaves architecture in our own virtual machine, and we will create our own pipelines also as part of the sessions that we discuss in coming topics. We will see integration of Jenkins with various DevOps tools like Docker and other VMs, machines that we want to integrate in our DevOps environment. We can integrate Jenkins with testing tools, monitoring, GitHub. GitHub we use to push the code to the Jenkins for deployment and delivery purposes. Then we will see hands-on on creating our own CI/CD pipeline using Jenkins software. So let's start with continuous integration. What is continuous integration? So if you remember, till now we have covered about introduction to DevOps and what our version control system is. Second comes continuous integration, where we connect our multiple target machines, whether they are production, whether they are test, or whether they are any other release management, release deployment target softwares or target environment, where we want to connect our end-to-end delivery. So Jenkins actually provides a mean to integrate our various softwares, various endpoints, source, targets, tools that may help or that will help our continuous integration and continuous delivery possible. So before that, let's see what continuous integration is. The process of having shorter life cycles, shorter release life cycles, sometimes several times a day. That is creating small features and integrating them to the source code and employing automated build and test processes for quicker feedback is called continuous integration. In today's life, in today's agile development methodology, we have already understood about shorter development cycles and shorter release cycles. Developers actually start developing by gathering the small pieces of requirement from client, and they intend to develop small modules and they release them to the end environments or customer environments for the testing or deployment purposes. In this way, there are multiple shorter life cycles. Even for shorter commits, for shorter changes they make to the software, they commit the changes to the source code repo like Git. From there, they want their software to be tested on the endpoints like testing server if you see here. And once testing is successful, if there are bugs, the feedback will be sent to a developer and developer will work on the improvement of code and bug fixes. Once the code is fully tested, they want their software, they want their modules to be deployed on the production machines. This is done continuously several times a day when developers are ready with the module from their end. They want that software's modules to be deployed on the test server, tested, and they want to see the end results if their software or module is ready to be deployed on the production server. So that's where continuous integration is important, because you cannot deploy human resources, or you can deploy, but that will be a costly affair to have human resources available for every small commits, every small changes developer make on the codes, so that the human resources can pick the new changes committed on the version control system Git, and then they pick those commits, build them, package them, maybe in terms of container or VM images, and then deploy on the testing server and perform the testing. In this way, you will need manual testers also, so that they can test all, they can run all the test cases, maybe 100, 200, 300 test cases on every module that developer release, and those test cases need to be run manually against the module that developer has just released. And that is again a manual effort that will take a lot of time to execute manually by every human tester. So this is where, if we do manual deployment of these release cycles from source code till testing till bug fixes till again these actually involves various cycles, and this will be a costly affair and as well as time consuming, that will delay our whole DevOps or agile delivery purposes. That's where continuous integration comes into picture, where we couple or we can say connect our endpoints, whether they are testing machine, production machines, source control system, that is Git, all together using Jenkins or any similar tool, so that they can be available together, and any deployment of smaller modules developed by a developer can be done automatically. So this is called continuous integration. And once they are deployed, tested, the continuous monitoring process actually sends continuous feedback to the developer, and they involve those in the further improvement and continuous development process. So these are some advantages. There are many, but we have listed some of the continuous integration advantages here. The first is frequent commits, hence small release feature release cycles. So developer, because all processes are automated, there is no human deployment. So developer can, even if they are making small changes, bug fixes, they can test their small frequent commits by using continuous integration feature, and they can get the feedback whether their test was run successfully, the feature worked fine or not. Then comes automated build and testing. The building of code, whether it is Java code or Python code, anything, you can write these commands as part of the continuous integration cycle. Build, testing, packaging, deployment, everything runs automatically here using continuous integration, and that's where it will save time and cost, and every commit can be tested without any human intervention, and quicker feedbacks can be provided to the developer. That's why the third point says instant feedback to developer, because everything is automated and can be run quickly in few seconds or minutes only. Then low risk and faster delivery, because we are not involving human here, so there are less chances of human errors, and the steps are automated. So exactly same test cases, exactly same build steps, packaging steps will run automatically, and in few seconds every step will just require second or milliseconds to run, or maybe some for building or packaging of code maybe few minutes. But yes, the risk of human errors or missing of steps or missing of test cases, wrong test cases run, these all will be negligible if the first run of the continuous integration run successfully. So yes, other execution will also be error free in this way. So this was about continuous integration. Next, we will discuss about very popular tool that supports continuous integration, deployment, and delivery in very efficient manner, and that is Jenkins. Till then, keep tuned. Okay, so we'll discuss about continuous integration. So let's see Jenkins, how can be used to manage continuous integration effectively. So we are if you remember the diagram that we discussed in introduction to DevOps session, we are going in series from development to version control, that we covered inside Git, right? And now we are learning about continuous integration using Jenkins. So this is where we are covering every topic in series. Similarly, in pipeline, we cover continuous deployment, configuration management, continuous deployment, configuration management, continuous container orchestration, and continuous monitoring. This is how we are moving in this DevOps training series, right? So, what is Jenkins? Jenkins is an open source automation server written in Java. Jenkins helps to automate non-human part of the software development process with continuous integration and facilitating technical aspects of continuous delivery. So this means Jenkins actually helps to achieve whatever we discussed in the previous topic, like continuous integration, continuous deployment, and continuous delivery in an efficient manner. And this is written in Java. And if you compare the market share of various continuous integration or CI/CD tool, you will find Jenkins has a good amount of market share and is very popular among the DevOps professional. So what are the features of Jenkins that make it very popular? Adoption. Jenkins is extremely popular among the open source community, as I said. Hence, there are more than 147,000 active installations throughout the world, maybe private or public, and 1 million people are using it. So, when you install Jenkins, you can install Jenkins server public also, publicly accessible, or you can make your private installation as well. So, most of the organizations prefer to install Jenkins privately inside their VPN or secure internet, because they don't want to expose the things they have in their repository code to the public or internet. So that's where, because Jenkins is already adopted by many people, so there are reasons. So the numbers that show actually in graph why the like the number of users actually using the Jenkins make it more popular, and because mouth of publicity works faster than any other advertisement, and that's where Jenkins is getting more popularity. Then comes plugin support. As compared to any other CI/CD tool, Jenkins has variety of numbers of plugins available to integrate with almost all kind of DevOps tools, be it monitoring, be it packaging, building, be it deployment, or be it any other kind of DevOps requirement. Jenkins is available to support all kind of requirement and DevOps tools using various plugins that it provides. With an extremely active open source community, Jenkins has around 1,000 plugins that allow it to integrate with most of the development, testing, and deployment tools. So, since open source community is supporting it, backing it, so any requirement, if any new tool comes, they immediately pick it up and develop plugin to get integrated with the Jenkins. So that's how we got an active community that is backing the Jenkins plugin support, plugin development, and we are getting quick access of plugin, quick availability of plugins available on the internet to be downloaded to suppose that software. So this is how we see, even there is a gap in even if there is any new release of the development tool or DevOps tool, Jenkins open source community immediately releases the plugin for that to support the same software. So this is how plugin rich community or plugin rich support makes Jenkins popular and favorite among all the DevOps professionals. These are some advantages of Jenkins as compared to without Jenkins support. So if you are not using Jenkins or before Jenkins, locating and fixing bugs in the event of building and testing failure was difficult and time consuming. We all know, as a being IT professional, we all know how much effort and pain are involved to manually reading the code, manually finding the bugs, testing each test cases, running the test cases multiple times for every bug fixes. Everything was time consuming, and there were always chances of human errors. While using Jenkins, we have achieved smaller and automated continuous build and testing that make the task accurate and faster, because we are running the proven steps, proven commands automatically against the required tasks or stages in the Jenkins pipeline. So we are sure that whatever we are running is foolproof, and the test cases and everything, if once run successfully and once tested well, so we know that okay, what the test case that we are running is fine and written correctly, and it is actually testing the feature without any bugs. So that's where we get accurate and faster test results integrations using Jenkins. Then tests were triggered manually. As I said, Testing of the code after building or deployment was always manual, and it was effort consuming task. Now in Jenkins, developer has to just commit the code to the repository, and build, test and deployment happen automatically using Jenkins jobs or pipeline. So this is where automation has helped a lot achieving accurate and faster results. Before Jenkins, no central place was there for tracking jobs on remote system. You had to manually log into the servers or using scripts, and then you can deploy the jobs on the target machines. Even if you had jobs or script cron jobs or anything written in a scripted manner, that's where you needed to manually run those jobs. They need to SSH to the machines, whether automatically using SSH commands or manually, and then trigger those jobs. While in Jenkins, because of continuous integration made possible, all builds or tests or on multiple remote systems can be controlled from one place, that is Jenkins master. You do not need to log in manually on the target machines on Jenkins slaves and then run those jobs. Everything is managed by Jenkins in an effective manner. So these are some advantages about Jenkins. In next session, we cover installing Jenkins. We will see a small demo how we can install our own Jenkins on our VM. Till then, keep learning and let's see you in next session. So in this part tutorial, we are going to install Jenkins on Ubuntu 22.04 machine. So first of all, we will create two servers, Linux Ubuntu machines with version 22.04, one for master Jenkins, or you can say built-in node, and other for slave machine. So again, you can find the steps in your runbook here, which is already shared with you. But again, as per standard, for all installations, we follow official documentation of the product company, right? So you can find the official installation link here. And because these steps and these products keep changing, so we don't provide the hard-coded steps. It's always better to find the new way of installing it from the official website and go with that. Our version of server will be Ubuntu machine, so we have to go to Ubuntu section. And remember, for running any Jenkins, it is a Java product, so we need to install Java kit first, right? So let's create two machines. As I said, we will be creating one instance for master. Always remember, we are using 22.04 Ubuntu machine for now because they are latest, supported and free on Google machine, Google Cloud. So let's the master, we can make it, you can choose any name of your choice. That's not something you have to worry. So I keep convention to call master as Jenkins, keep everything else as per standard and the default settings. And here we want to change OS image to Ubuntu 20.04. Let's go in here, choose Ubuntu, and the version 22.04. Remember the architecture as per the default setting, we have to choose x86-64 and this size is okay, 10 GB. Select it and we can allow HTTP firewall, right? And let's create it. Similarly, I can create another one for Jenkins slave or worker node, you can also say. Let's name it as slave one as per documentation that we have in runbook. Again, keep it, always remember for connectivity of the machines, they should lie in the same region. So change the OS type to Ubuntu 22.04. Of course, you can use any version of Linux machine. Jenkins master can connect to Windows slaves as well, containers as well, Kubernetes pods as well. But keeping things simple, I will be using both same type of machines here. Again, same version. Different version will also work, but let's not complicate. We have just started learning. So keeping it simple in the first go is good. Of course, once you are able to do it, you can go and create experiments, do other stuff, different kind of machine settings, Windows to Linux, Linux to Windows, as per your own choice, and you can try different options. different permutation combinations, right? That will help you. I again encourage, once you can do these kind of direct things, you should try other stuff as well for learning purpose. So both machines are, you can say Jenkins is up and running, and similarly Slave is also getting ready. Both are up. So let me connect to the machines here. Uh, this one launched. Slave also I want to launch here. So let's go to the documentation now. I told you first you should install JDK. This is a requirement for Jenkins, right? We need to have Java installed. So where is that? I think it will be here, installation of Java. So just these two commands, three commands you have to run. The last one is just the output of Java version command. So don't try to copy paste and run it. So I copy these three commands, or let's go one by one. So any Linux machine that you create fresh, always run sudo apt update before you install any new software, because repositories need to be refreshed. So both machines, master and slave, both need to have Java installed. So I will again switch to Ubuntu user as per our standard, but again you can use any user which has sudo access, because installation and all stuff will require sudo access. And let's install Java on it. First update the repositories as I'm doing. This is our slave machine. Here also I will do, I'm running the steps on both machines in the same time in parallel. So don't get confused. Update the repositories here as well. Now time is to copy the next command to install JDK 17 as per the documentation. Right. On master as well as on slave both. Confirm the installation here as well. So once Java is ready, I can go scroll down to up and try to install. Go and try to install always long-term support release, right? Weekly release can be dynamic, so better. So this is first command to download the Jenkins keys for authentication for secure download. So I will just download and add it to the keyrings on both the machines. No, this is installation of Jenkins. So this step will be running on master server, because on master only we need Jenkins installation. So remember, on Jenkins master I am running it. Key is added. The next step says it is time to add the Jenkins download URL to our repository file which we are creating. By default in Ubuntu we create repo files in this location, and this is I am creating for Jenkins, so jenkins.list. Okay, so of course this is secure download. So the keyring, you can see the keyring, the key that we added to keyring here, we have to sign this download or repository content with this key. That's why the whole command will be like this. What it says, it is adding a Debian package signed by this key inside residing in this keyring. The download location is this. What you want to download, a binary file. So this is something complete content you want to dump into the, this is the syntax how you create a repository in Ubuntu or RHEL or any Linux machine. So this is the whole content that will go into this repository file that you are creating for Jenkins download. So run this command. This runs here. You can see the content of this file which is created already. Nice. So you can see this is the Debian type of package signed by this keyring, and this is the download location. So what is the benefit here? Now, whenever you try to install Jenkins, your command will check into this download location for Jenkins packages, and then it will be able to download and install it. That's the whole purpose of adding download location to the repositories. Now, whenever you add a new repository file or anything in the repository file, if you update, you have to run sudo update again. Then it will be able to add that download URL into the repository locations in the repository cache, you can say. So since you have added it, you can install apt get install Jenkins, and it will be downloading and installing Jenkins on your machine. Say yes, and let's go. So things in Linux are actually simple. You just need to be aware about little commands, and you will be able to make it. You can see from one terminal we can do everything that we want. So once it is installed, you will be able to see Jenkins service running. Let's check that sudo service Jenkins status. If your Jenkins installation went fine, you will see Jenkins in running status. Also, you should be able to access it on the browser itself. So by default, if you have not changed the port, Jenkins will run on port 8080. So how you can access it? Let's go to the your master server's public IP. This is how you can access, right? And add port 8080 here. So you are able to access Jenkins because port 8080 was open for me. Generally, if you are doing it for the first time, you will see connection refused error here. Okay, how you can do that? For to get that fixed, suppose let me revert my port. Okay, I will show you what will happen if your port is not open. To access any service on the server, your port should be opened in the firewall. So you have to go to Google Firewall here, search for Google Firewall, and you will find it here. Open in new tab. I have a firewall already created, and I will delete it so that I can show you a fresh firewall creation here and opening port 8080 and new port also, because when we connect Jenkins agent to master, then also we will need it to allow new ports here. So we will do everything step by step. So what I'm going to do, suppose I have deleted my firewall, and if I try to access this Jenkins, you will see this is where you will not be able to access it. It will show you connection refused after some time. So you can see this circle is just waiting for the page to respond. That means the page is not responding, or I can just close it and I can show you by opening a new window again. This is IP. Now let's try to access it. You can see the Jenkins URL is not accessible because we have not allowed the port now. What we can do, you can see two options here: firewall policy, firewall rule. You have to create a firewall rule here. Just create it, click on it, give it a name. Let's say Devops firewall. Okay, I use this name. Any firewall. Okay, so it has to take like this. Underscore is not allowed. Devops firewall. I'm going to allow incoming traffic to the server. So it has to be ingress only. No need to change. I want to allow, not deny. So keep it allow and mention. You can go with any options here, but the most the better option here is all instances in the network. Why I'm using it? Because I want to apply this firewall for any servers that I create in this VPC or network. So tomorrow I will be creating more servers for Ansible, Kubernetes. So whatever rules I want to, whatever ports I want to open, I can just use this firewall to open all the ports. I don't need to create separate firewall for each server or machine, right? If you want, you can go with each server also to be more restrictive. But we are in learning phase only, so it is good that we can keep things less complicated. From where I want to allow access from internet, and for internet the IP is 0.0.0.0/0. Remember, it is standard. So that's it. This is your targets. I want to apply this firewall on all the targets, means all the servers that I create in this network. And from where I want to allow, I want to keep it open to the public. That's it. Now coming to which port I want to allow. I have not allowed any port yet. So I want to allow TCP port. Which port? I told you Jenkins runs on port 8080. Just go add port 8080 here. Tomorrow, when we need more ports to add, just put comma and you can add your next port, comma. You can allow ranges also. Suppose 20, suppose 2000 till 3000 ports I want to open. This is also possible. All the ports from 2000 to 3000 are open now. So this is how one firewall can open multiple ports. Right now I am interested in 8080 only. I will go and create it. Don't need to attach the firewall to any server now because it is automatically applied to all the machines you create now because of all instances in the network setting. The firewall is in. If you try to refresh this page again now, you should be able to access Jenkins. This takes you to the login page. How you can get the initial password? Steps are here. Copy this path, go to your Jenkins master server and use sudo to cat this file because this is root owned file. And here you can get your initial password to log in for the first time to Jenkins. Copy this and go here, provide your administrator password and continue. The moment you access your Jenkins for the first time, you are logged in successfully, it will ask you to install suggested plugins. I told you in the start, Jenkins, when you install it, is just an empty Java application. It has no functionality. And it provides you a lot of functionalities that we saw, that we read already through huge number of plugins. So whatever there are some basic plugins that we must install in order to start using Jenkins, and that is what suggested Jenkins plugins show you. If you want to select also, you can go to select and choose your own plugins. I will go with install suggested plugin option. It will take some time to install all the plugins. You can see it is installing 20 plugins around here. Yes. So any functionality starting from time stamping, logs, folders creation, you can see Git also getting installed. So Git features, pipeline features, Maven Gradle and feature, these are getting installed here. That's why you will be able to see these options in your Jenkins. Your Jenkins and my Jenkins can be totally different based on what plugins we have installed. Similarly, whatever plugins you are using in your company, you will again see that yes, these plugins, this Jenkins is different than what I learned in Cloud Train or somewhere. So that's completely fine. Your Jenkins is completely customizable, and once your plugin is installed, time is to create first admin user. We used default admin user for which the initial password was quite complicated. If you want to live with that, you can skip and continue, but that's not good. Let's create our first user, and I create here the user with Devops name. I choose a password here, confirm the password. Again, I use full name as Devops Cloud Train. Provide your email. Any email will work here. I just use devops@cloudtrain.com. That's a dummy email I'm using because I'm not going to use it. Save and continue. And your user is created and your Jenkins URL, remember, is stored here. This is a very important thing to note. Tomorrow, if you restart your Google machine, the public IP will change. So this address of your Jenkins need to be updated here as well. And how you can do it? You can go to configuration settings and you can do that there. I will show you shortly. So remember, if you restart your Jenkins master, then this IP of the Google, any cloud free machine will change its public IP, remember. So you have to change it here as well. Right now I'm saving it. I will show you in few minutes how you can change this IP if you have rebooted your machine. And any changed IP will need to be changed in your agent connection command also, that we will do next step. Okay. Our Jenkins is ready. We can start using it. This is how your Jenkins looks like for the first time. You can start creating a job here. You can set up Jenkins slave agents here, configure cloud for containers or any Jenkins cloud is nothing like AWS cloud or something. It is just you want to connect to a pool of machines. That is something advanced topic we are not going to deal with here. But yes, this is something we can do. Anything that you want to do with your Jenkins, you have to go to manage Jenkins. It has number of settings that you can manage, including the Jenkins setting itself. Any Jenkins settings reside in system, and tools is the place where you can do tools integration. That is part of continuous tools integration. You can configure your Maven, Ansible, whatever plugins. See, for using anything, you have to install plugins, right? So installing plugins, you have to go here. That again we'll be doing shortly. Nodes, agents, and all we'll be doing next. That you have to go here. Any cloud pool configuration, node pool configuration, you have to go here. Appearance you can change. Security settings you can do here. You can create credentials here. So these things we will do step by step as per requirement for the next part. But yes, users you can create and manage here. System log you can see, system information. You can go to system information and you can see, you can show all values and you can see everything about your Jenkins, which war file is running, what encoding, which version of Jenkins you are running, which version of Java you are running. Everything is here, right? So this is the place where you have all control to Jenkins. I told you the URL that if you change your IP of the server, you have to go to system, and in system you will find that IP and port. Port always remains same 8080. It's just public IP of the machine will change. That you can go and update here. Got it? This is the IP that you have to change with the new IP of the machine if you reboot your servers and just save it. So this is about installation of Jenkins. The Jenkins is set up and running, and that is good for us to perform the next step that we'll be doing shortly. See you in next part. Till now, we have covered about Jenkins and Jenkins installation. So let's see what is Jenkins architecture, how Jenkins is supporting DevOps needs. So we have Jenkins here, and plugins, Jenkins plugins are root of the Jenkins architecture. For everything, even for reporting, integration with various tools, for every software or tool we are integrating with, we have plugin to support it. For color coding, for formatting, everything Jenkins do effectively using plugins. So the backbone of Jenkins functionality is their rich plugins. Okay, so typically a Jenkins has or works in master slave architecture. You have a master, the same that we configured and installed Jenkins in our previous session, and that master actually connects and controls, or we can say manages, all the connecting nodes. Those nodes are called slaves for those Jenkins. So this is a typical master slave architecture that you can see on my screen. So Jenkins master can support testing server, production servers, alpha testing, beta testing, containers as end machines. So these are even containers can be used as slave in Jenkins master slave architecture to run Jenkins jobs. So this is where Jenkins master slave architecture comes into picture. So next session we will see how we can connect our Ubuntu machines or Ubuntu servers as Jenkins slaves. So till now we are considered about Jenkins architecture. This is a very simple kind of centralized mechanism to control your all managed nodes using Jenkins. You can the process of integrating nodes with the Jenkins is very simple, and that's what we will see in next session. So in this part of video, we are going to start connecting slave machines to Jenkins master. We will be connecting two slave machines. One we have already created. Let us create one more slave machine. I will be creating same Ubuntu 22.04 machine for this slave as well. But of course, these slaves can be of different types, different configuration, different type of operating system. So I will just name it slave 2 and change it to Ubuntu machine here from boot disk. Change the version to 22.04 x86-64. Remember, the type of machine we have selected, it will only support this x86-64. Select it, allow firewall for HTTP traffic, create it. Meanwhile, the machine is creating. I can show you again. You can go to runbook and you can find all the steps we are going to do here to configure slave nodes, right? So there are multiple methods to connect your slaves to master or master to slave. Both can connect to each other from any either side. Okay. We are what method we are using now? We are going to connect slave to master using agent.jar, which is again a Java jar file. So you always need a Java jar file on slave machine in order to connect to talk to master. And Jenkins slaves always talk to, or Jenkins master and slave always talk to each other on JNLP protocol, which is called Java Network Launch Protocol. So how you can do it? You have to go to manage Jenkins again, go to nodes, and here we are going to connect a new node. Click on new node. First one I'm going to connect slave one, so I will keep it slave one. Type will be permanent agent because they are machines, virtual machines. So they will be connected as like permanent agent here. Click on create and provide the configuration. I will keep executor 1. This executor is always for number of how many parallel jobs your slave machine can run. If it is one, only one job it can execute at a time. Rest of the jobs will come in a queue. They will wait for the first one to complete. If you want more parallel jobs to run together, you can just increase this number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But remember, your machine should have enough resources to accommodate those jobs in parallel. Any information of any field can be found here by clicking on question mark. Jenkins is very useful in terms of documentation and help. You can check about any fields just by clicking on question mark here. Remoting directory is important. What you provide here, you will be providing the location in the server where your Jenkins will download the data from repository or any location in order to work on it. Because your Jenkins job will be doing something, right? Building a code, packaging it, sending it somewhere. So these all will be done on the slave machine only, right? It should have a proper location, designated location to perform it. So I will be using home Ubuntu Jenkins location to do all my stuff. Here you can choose again any location, but remember Jenkins user, your Jenkins runs as Jenkins user, it should have permission to do everything here. So home Ubuntu Jenkins, I am using it. Uh, and I want to use this node as much as possible. Again, you can just use the another setting. Only labeled job can run here, which are targeted to run on slave 2, but I will keep this slave 2 available for every job. Launch agent by connecting it to container. These are the connection method. So either agent can connect via master can connect via SSH to agents, or agents can also connect to master via SSH connection, or they can connect via uh, agent.jar file. So I want first setting, I want to connect my agent to the controller. Controller is master machine only. Controller, you can call it controller, you can call it master, you can call it built-in node, all are same. Then I want to keep this, there are three settings, how much you want this slave to be available. Three settings are there. First says keep this agent online as much as possible. Means I want this agent to be available for every job. Any job can come and get scheduled. It is available 24/7, right? Second is I want to bring this agent online as particular schedule. Suppose your office runs from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So I don't want to run this agent for 24 hours, right? That will cause cost. So I just want to keep it 9 to 5. So I can put a schedule here. Similarly, I can bring this agent on demand. Means if there is a job, only then Jenkins will bring up this agent or slave. So everything is possible. It's just how much efficiently you want to use Jenkins. I go with the first one only, default, and save it. If you want to go to this is a placeholder. Remember, I have not created a slave. It is just a placeholder. It doesn't know any server. So to map a server with this slave configuration, you have to go inside this and you have to copy the commands and run on the slave machine. There are two commands actually. This is first one. This is second one. If you are running on Linux or Unix, use this one. If you are running on Windows, use these ones. Both type of slaves are supported. So the first command here, you can see curl command. What this command will do, this will download the agent.jar file from the master machine. This is master IP only. So just copy it and run on the slave machine. I'm doing it for the slave one, right? So remember, you are running it on slave one only. So this command will download agent.jar. You can see that here. And the second command will make this agent to connect to master using this agent.jar file that you have downloaded. So this is the URL, okay? And this is the secret it is using to connect securely to the master. Your slave agent name is slave1, and this is the work dir that you already set. So copy this command. This is a single command. You can go to your slave, sorry. You go to slave1 and run this here. So when you run it, what you see? I got waiting 10 seconds before try, invalid not found, right? So there is a problem here. It cannot locate the server. Why? Let's see what is the problem here. It is saying I'm trying to connect to machine, but it is not allowing me connect. Why? It is retrying. So if this happens, you have to see what is the problem here. We started this slave connection, but we did not allow it to connect. There are multiple methods I told you. It can connect on random port, it can connect on fixed port. We want to connect on random port right now. So we have to go to security and we have to allow random port connection. So this setting you have to do, you will find in the runbook already, and save it. The moment you save it, it should detect it now. Go to the machine again. So you can see now it is saying located server among this. So it is able to locate the server. I am telling you step by step what errors can happen when you are trying to do it. So the thing is, server is reachable now because I allowed random port, and because I allowed random port, there is a random port it is trying to connect now. This is something you should see here. Your Jenkins agent is trying to connect to Jenkins master on this port. This port for me and you will be different. It will be a 5-digit port, but definitely it is not going to be same for you, and it is a random. So it can be something for me, it can be something different for you. So copy this port. It is not able to reach. Why? Because this port is not still added to the firewall. So go to your firewall again, and you have to allow this firewall, this port also in your firewall. How you can do it? Open your firewall that you created earlier, Devops firewall, edit it, and add one more port here, which is shown in the error message. Always get your correct port from the error message, which is shown not reachable. Save it. The moment you save it, you will see in few seconds only this port will reflect in the whitelisting of firewall, and your agent will connect successfully. What do you see now? The moment I allowed the firewall, your agent was able to connect to master, and it is connected. And if you go to your Jenkins as well, you can see in the nodes here, the slave one is in sync. In sync means it is connected. So both places it is same. But the problem here is it is holding my screen. I am not able to do anything on this machine. And the moment I do Control C, the agent will exit, and it will exit from the, it will get disconnected. If you refresh this from this button, you see your agent got disconnected again. So how you can run it forever? I can run this agent run command in the background. How you can run a command in background in Linux? Just put ampersand, this and in the end of any command. If I do this, you can see it is connected in background, and I can get my screen back, terminal back, and I can do anything I want later. So this is how you can keep your agent running in the background forever. It will show connected again here if you refresh. See, it got connected again. So this is how I connected my first slave. Now I am going to log into my slave 2 quickly and will do slave 2 connection the same way that I did for slave 1. So I just need to create placeholder like slave 1 here as well. So click on a new node and put slave 2 placeholder here. And the good part is you can copy existing node configuration also here. There is already one node existing, slave 1. I want to keep this slave 2 configuration also like slave 1. So I can do that, or I can just create a new with fresh configuration. Both is possible. Go here. Now you can see everything it copied from the slave 1 only. I don't need to provide these all things. They are already copied. I just go and save. I can get the command, right? So I again need to run. So this is for slave 2. I again need to download the agent.jar on slave 2 fresh, which is already logged in here. Remember, check the machine name slave 2. I changed the user to Ubuntu and download the jar file here. It is downloaded. Let's check. And now time to connect this agent to the master like we connected slave 1. Copy paste. Why this error? Because on this node we did not download Java. Remember? So time is to download Java first. We can again go to documentation page, or we can just check it from the slave 1 machine. What command we ran? It was Java, right? JTK. So this was the command. I can just copy and run. But before this, I have to run apt update as well. Sudo apt update. So it's done. Apt update done. Let's install Java 17. It will not take much time. So the same way we added slave 1 and slave 2, you can add any number of agents to your Jenkins as per the load and number of jobs you have, so that they can share it equally on each node. And your Jenkins master or single slave will not get overloaded by the jobs that you are running. So our Java is installed. Now if I start to run my slave command, it should run properly. Also, I want to send it to background. So once random port is assigned, all agents will connect to the same port. You can see it did not ask for a new port. It is the same port that we already added. So it is again connected. Let's verify it in the Jenkins. I go to nodes again, and you can see both the slave 1 and slave 2 are in sync, means they are connected to Jenkins. So that's it for this part. We'll see you in next part again. Thank you. So let's discuss how Jenkins can integrate with various DevOps tools. As we already discussed, like Jenkins have plugins for every connection or every tool it supports. So Jenkins, using Jenkins, you can connect to Git so that you can fetch the updated code, or you can get the updated code from the Git source repo, and you can build those codes. You can run the jobs, Jenkins jobs, or you can run pipelines against those codes, build them, package them, and test them. The packaging can be done on as part of as in terms of VM images, or the packaging can be done in terms of Docker images or other type of container images that can be built during the build phase of the code building. And then testing can be done using automated test cases. Like there are various tools available to support automated or continuous testing fundamentals, like Selenium, JUnit. So these kind of tools are available in market where you can write the test codes in their format and they will run all your test cases automatically without any human intervention. So there are, apart from these, even you can connect your Jenkins to, suppose this is your Jenkins, right? So Jenkins is not limited to like continuous testing, continuous monitoring or like this. Jenkins can support various tasks. Jenkins can be configured and connected with Ansible or Ansible Tower also to support your continuous support your configuration management needs as well. Even Ansible jobs can be integrated with your Jenkins software. So Ansible playbooks or Ansible deployments also can be done automatically using Jenkins software. Those also do not need to be covered manually or run manually to make your servers ready or endpoints ready for the deployment. Again, Jenkins can, as I said, Jenkins can integrate with Git, version control systems, any type of version control systems. Jenkins can integrate, pull the code, or even they can push or commit the code also if there is a need to do so. So this kind of also requirement can also be met using Jenkins. So similarly, Jenkins supports continuous integration, deployment, delivery, testing, monitoring, configuration management. Even you can deploy your microservices using Jenkins on using Kubernetes or Helm charts. These also can be achieved using Jenkins, and Kubernetes is part of our training, so we will discuss this in coming sessions. Ansible as well will be discussed, and we will see how you can do use these tools to manage our DevOps needs. So Jenkins is, as I said, it is a very popular and plugins rich software. So that's where it can integrate with a lot of DevOps tools without any difficulties, and you can use them. So what is how we can integrate with Git? Git can be used to copy a Git repository to the slave file system from Jenkins master. So what actually Jenkins do? Suppose you have a Jenkins repository. You have a code repo hosted on Git. Okay, and what Jenkins will do using continuous integration with Git, it will pull the code from the Git and download on slave machine. So it will download the code copy. It will clone actually. So in version control, we have already saw what clone is. It's like downloading the whole code from the Git repo to the local server. So what Jenkins do as part of the Jenkins job, it downloads the whole Git repo for that source code on the local machine or slave node, and then build those code and or perform next actions as per the job configured. Okay. Similarly, now what next action could be? Next action from the after downloading the source code could be build the code, right? So it can be like pull the code, build the code, test the code, deploy the code, right? So every stage can be defined in a Jenkins job or pipeline, and it will run gradually. So now after building the code, packaging comes in picture. So it will if we are using Docker, if we are integrated with the Docker, Docker can be installed on the slave machine, and then it can be used for packaging the code after building and for testing or deployment purpose. So now it will containerize the website in the previous step to a Docker container using Jenkins. So this is where packaging comes in picture. That will be the package, the images will be used to run on the target machines. So not only Docker is supported, you can package your code and software in various deliverables, various form of deliverables. It can be a VM image, it can be a Docker container image, it can be a jar file, tar file, war file. So any kind of deliverable can be packaged in this step, right? Once your code is packaged in terms of container or any image, it can be run against various test cases using Selenium or any other tools your Jenkins is integrated with. So now create a test case for this website in the previous step and execute the test on slave using Jenkins. Once your test case, your code is deployed on test machine, test cases in Selenium can be run automatically and the feedback can be provided to the developer. Okay, so these many test cases failed, You need to work again and fix the code and make it bug free. So these are some cases of Jenkins integration with DevOps tools. So this is a very limited explanation. Lot of tools are available based on your needs. You need to check them out and follow documentation. Follow the documentation to integrate them with the Jenkins and use them in your jobs or pipelines. So now we have covered the theory part. We will see a small demo in next session about configuring slave nodes with the Jenkins master. So in this part of video, we are going to see how we can create freestyle job in Jenkins. So we are going to have a scenario where we will have two jobs. So what they are going to do, we will create one, remember a situation where you have one development environment. So one job we are creating for development environment with the name demo, and the other we will create with the same configuration with the name demo prod, right? So these two jobs, one will target for development and one will target for production. The motive is we want to create and configure and run development job every time any code changes are there. Means development job will run first, and if it is successful, we want to trigger production job automatically as part of triggering and part of build pipeline. So in this part, we will just configure these two jobs one by one, same as each other, and then we will connect them each other in the next part so that they can be triggered like a pipeline, right? So what we do here, let's go to Jenkins again, and we go to dashboard. Click on new item. Any new job you want to create, any kind of job in Jenkins, you have to go to new item, and you will see different kind of jobs that you can create. The most basic one that we start with first is a freestyle job. They can execute any kind of single step jobs that you want to run, maybe small, big, right? But yes, anything that you want to run, they will run in one go. But if you want to run them in stages, one after other in a sequence, then you have to go with a pipeline. Similarly, you can have multi-configuration project. They are for advanced uses where you have to run multiple configuration as part of one job. You can create folders. You can segregate your jobs in different folders: development, production, Linux, Windows. You can create jobs for different teams and you can create folders for them, right? So the folder is just a placeholder. You can create similar kind of freestyle pipelines inside every folder. It's just a nested hierarchy that you want to create. Multi-branch pipeline are there when you have a repository configured with multiple branches. So they are similar to pipeline only. It's just like normal pipelines runs for single branch that you have made them for hard-coded. But multi-branch pipeline have advantage of scanning all the branches in your repository. Suppose you have master branch, you have development branch, you have release branch. So what advantage multi-branch pipeline give you? You don't need to create separate pipeline for each branches. Rather, they can share single pipeline for every branch that you have, and they can run whenever there is a change in any branch, that instance can run for that particular branch automatically. So you are not managing multiple pipelines for every job in your repository. Rather, your multi-branch pipeline will automatically scan your branches in your repository, all the branches, and it will create a copy of job that you can run, a copy of pipeline that you can run separately, independently for every branch there. That's the advantage you get in multi-branch pipeline. The pipeline that you write here and here are always same. So what we are going to do, we are going to create our development job first. Everything you can find in your runbook. Again, I will show you. You can go in the next step and you will see everything documented here, starting from here. So we are going to create Jenkins jobs, and in every job we are going to use this repository where our website code is residing. A simple website that we'll be using to clone with the Git repository using Jenkins pipeline, and then build it like a container image and then deploy those container image like a containerized website running, and then we will see how we can access it. So this is something because we are going to run a containerized website, so we should install Docker on our both the slave nodes. You can do it from pipeline also, but let's not make it complicated. First, our Jenkins can also do it, but right now we will be doing it manually. But after you make it successful, I will suggest try to do this Docker installation also on a fresh node, fresh slaves using pipeline itself. So let's go on to the slave 1 and slave 2 both we need to install this Docker component because Docker containers will be running as part of both the jobs, development and production. That's why we'll be installing Docker on both the machines. On slave 2 as well, we run it. Nice. So once this is done, your slave machines are ready to run containers through manual effort or through pipeline. Containers will be talking in Docker session more, but right now let's see just, we want to just make this job successful, right? So let's go back, and once your Docker container is installed, we will start creating our Jenkins job. So going to Jenkins again, I told you I will be keeping my development job name as demo. You can keep any name you want, and let's make it freestyle. Click on OK. This is how any job field looks like when you are configuring it. You can choose different options. If you want to discard old builds, you can use it. I'm going to use it for my GitHub project, so I will provide my GitHub URL here. So the repository that I'm going to use, let's open that in another window, or you can just copy or open it from Runbook as well. That was here only. So click on it and open in a new tab. So what this repository contains, let me show you quickly. This repository is from advanced sessions as well, so it has a lot of content. But right now what you want to focus for this workshop is just these two items. This one is Docker file that will be used to create this Docker image. We will talk about more in Docker session about it. And the actual code that developer is developing for this website resides in this folder, Devops IQ. It is again simple. It has just one index.html page, which will be also using these images to list down. Few of images, not all. So this repository we want to clone as part of my Jenkins job. Let's copy the URL. And because this is part of GitHub, I'm just putting it here. It is of no much use for now. Actual use will come later on when I add Git repository. If you want to add parameters to your job, you can use these options. You can throttle your builds. If you want to run concurrent builds, of course, you must choose this option if you want to run your jobs instances in parallel. And if you want to run this job on a particular slave, like I want to run this job on slave 1 only. I want my development job to run on slave 1 and production job on slave 2. So let's restrict this on slave 1. Okay, this is how you can uh, force a job to just get scheduled on particular worker nodes or slave nodes only. Now I want to run this job to clone from a GitHub repository. This is the actual section where your Jenkins will clone the code from Jenkins, clone all the files from Jenkins, GitHub URL, Git repository URL. That Git repository you must provide here. Okay, my Git repository resides on GitHub, but it can be on Bitbucket or any other kind of Git source provider. Okay, so this repository URL you must be correct. Because this is public, I don't need to provide any credential. If it was private repository, then I must add credentials also. Then further, which branch I want to clone. I told you a repository can have multiple branches, right? Like this has a master, it can have more. So right now I just want to build on master. If it is any other branch, you also must provide correct branch name here. You can also clone from multiple branches. Jenkins has that capability. You can clone from multiple repositories, multiple branches. Everything is possible. You can try these all permutation combination again. For triggering, we are not using it for now, but yes, you can use triggers through different types of triggers you can use. You can just run periodically. You can just do cron type of scheduling every 15 minutes, every 1 hour, every 9 a.m. It can do that. You can trigger as part of GitHub webhook also. That of course is not part of topic here. And you can configure your Jenkins to poll your repository changes. If there is any change, it will find it and it will run again. So these two are automatic triggering from the repository basis. One is triggered from repository and one automatically checks for repository changes. So what next? We have to, until now we just mentioned in our job how to refer this repository and clone the content. If you save it now, this job is not doing anything. It just has a Git repository reference. It will connect to it. It will clone that. So if I how you run a job, you just go and build now. If I build this job, you will see it is connecting to slave one. So it started running first instance. You can go inside this job by clicking on the number, and it was successful. You can see every information on this job. How much time it took to execute, 6 seconds approx. It was scheduled on slave one. Who ran it? Devops Cloud Train user. Which repository is referred? This repository branch master. All information can be seen here. If you want to see the output of this job, go to console output and you will see again same information started by this user, run on slave 2, where it is cloning the content. Remember this path we provided in the remoting directory. So what Jenkins do, it creates a workspace in the provided location, and for every job content, it will clone in the job name directory only. So this job name was demo. So if you go to the server, this is the path that we configured in the Jenkins slaves, right? So if you go to this location and check this path, you will have these folders. I told you it will create workspace automatically. And inside this, for every job, it will create the folder name with the job name itself. And if you do ls-ltr here, you will see all your repository contents are downloaded here. Whatever you want to do with this content, now you can do with your Jenkins job. Like you can do it from command line, your same commands you can run in your Jenkins. So Jenkins jobs or pipelines are nothing magic. They are just running the steps or commands that you embed or add inside your jobs. The same I'm going to do. I will just run simple Docker commands to clean up old running containers, build a new image out of the Docker file using the code that we have written for, and then use that Docker image to run a new container. Again, I tell you, it might be something early for you to understand containers. These containers will be understanding more in Docker session after it. So what it is going to run, let's go to runbook again. And you can see there are 3 commands that we're going to run, right? Everything you can see from the document only we are doing it, nothing, no deviation. So this is also we checked. Everything is fine till now. So what we do now, we are going to run these 3 commands. How you run commands in Jenkins pipeline, you have to, suppose I want to update this command again, go to your job and you can anytime update your jobs by clicking on configure. Click on configure and you make more changes to your job again. So go down. How you can do add your commands to the Jenkins pipeline? Go to build steps. Okay, in build step there are a lot of options. You might be you want to you may be running your commands on Windows slave, then you have to use Windows commands. If you are running on Linux machines like we are doing now, you have to execute shell. So this is relevant to our case. If you want to run Java codes through Ant or Gradle scripts, so you see these options again can be different for you depending on the plugins you have installed. So how you can install plugin, I will show you shortly in the next session when we do build pipelines. Okay. So what is useful for now? Executing shell commands because we have Linux slaves. Remember. So I copy and paste, and the same time I will explain you what these commands do. Of course, this might be something you, if you are not aware about Docker, this might be new. So remember this command docker rm is the command to remove containers. If there are existing containers, it will remove them. Hyphen F stands for forceful removal of containers. So this command takes ID of the container or name of the container as input to remove that container. So what we are doing now, you can see this command takes another command output as pipeline. And what this command do, this docker ps command is used to list containers, running containers. But if I want to run all the containers, I will put docker ps -a. This will list all the containers running, stopped, exited, right? And I told you this command takes id as the argument to remove the containers. So this -q command will only give the id of container. Okay. So suppose I go and start a start a container on this slave one. How we can do start a container? Docker run -tid and Ubuntu. Okay, so this give me permission error because I'm not authorized to run containers on this. How I can authorize it? Either I can go with sudo as root, or I can add my user to Docker group. How I can do it? Sudo user mode -a g. Which group? Docker group. I want to add my user. My user is Ubuntu. Okay, so now I make myself member of Docker group, so I will be having all the permissions to manage Docker's containers. So if I run this command now, it says, I think Docker service is also not running. Oh, not it's running, but the problem here is I have to, whenever I add myself as a user to any group, I must log out and log in again. Then only permission changes will affect or group changes will affect. So now if I run this Docker command, you will see container starts. It is pulling the image, Ubuntu image, and then it will deploy that container. So I told you docker ps command will list your running containers, and docker ps -a command will list all stopped and running containers. There is no stopped container, so you don't see anything. And if I just put -q with this, it will just give me the ID. So if I do docker rm -f and provide this ID, this will remove this container forcefully, right? Because I used force option. It was running container, so I had to use force. I will deploy this container again because my first command will look for container to get removed, right? So there should be some existing containers. So I deployed one container there. Now I want to use my Docker file to build a container image. So how Docker build command works? If you want to create any container image, build container image, you need a Docker file. So if you go to this machine again or repository even, this is already cloned, there's a Docker file. This Docker file I will be using to build my container image that I will be using to deploy my containerized website. So what this container file is doing, it is just referring one base image using from keyword, and it is adding my code inside this Devops IQ folder, the website code that I shown you already, to where www.html DevOps IQ location of the container build. So whenever I deploy a container using this image now, it will automatically deploy my code into this location that I will be able to access directly outside. That's the magic of containers. We will cover in next session in detail. So let's do it. And when I build this image, I want to name it with this name. And then with this image name, I will be using it to run the container mapped with port 82. This port, this is your VM port and this is container port. So this I am using 82. On this port, I will be able to access my website outside the machine. So let's save these commands and try to run this job again. Changes saved, build now. And you will see more steps are executed now. So build number 2 is started. You can go and go to console output and you can see your steps getting executed in real time. So what it's doing now, it removed the old container. You can see the first command action. Then it is using my second command to build the container image with name DevOps demo. The image is built. You can see that here, image build, and the last command used to run that image as container. So if you go to server, you will see a container was deployed by my Jenkins job, and that's what we wanted. It is running. It is mounted to port 82 of host, means on this port of my slave machine, slave 1 machine, I will be able to access this deployed website. Let's check out. So slave 1, we deployed this container. I go and open this page, and the port was 82, right? This will not work. Again, why? Because this is a new port that we must add to the firewall again. So let's go and edit this firewall again and add this port as well here. 82, save it. The moment you save this changes, you allow the port in firewall, you will see, refresh this page, and you will see your website is accessible. So my everything that I wanted in this job, Jenkins job, worked perfectly fine. The endpoint of this website that I have deployed is Devops IQ. If you hit this, you see you were able to deploy a sample CloudTrain website here. So first demo job, development job is successful. It is working fine, and I am able to access it. The same way I will create production job now. Let's go to dashboard again, add new item. Let's call it demo prod, choose freestyle. And the best part again, you can copy any existing configuration for job, notes, anything. Here it's a job. I can just give the existing job name. I want my production job to be same as development job. So I can copy everything from this job now and click OK. You will see everything about the commands, about Git repo, everything is copied here. But there are some changes I want to make. I want this production job to run on slave 2, correct? So you have to change. Second repository will be same always. The commands again, we need to make slight changes because the job name is changed now, demo prod. So this location also will change, right? It will become demo prod now. Image name I can keep same or different, doesn't matter, but I will just change it because I am changing everything. Change in the both places. What image name you are building with and what you are deploying should be same. Save it and run it. So you can see your first job is running. It should go fine. It failed. Why it failed? Let's see that here in the output. It says the Docker container doesn't exist, right? This removal command should have at least one container running there. So we will quickly deploy a container there. First I add myself to Docker group. Control D, log out, login back. Now I can run a container. So once it is deployed, if I trigger my job again, you can re-trigger any job, right? So you can go and build it again, and it will start the second instance of this job here. Let's observe the output. Hope it goes fine now. Yes, it is going good. It is building the container image, and soon it will deploy it as well. Success, all good. Let's check the container running on the second node as well. Docker PS, it is running well. And let's try to access it on the console, on the browser, sorry, using the IP of slave 2 machine to verify production job went fine. Port 82, right? All good. Let's access the endpoint Devops IQ. Perfect. So both the jobs are configured successfully and we are able to run them without any issues. You can also see their job status in the dashboard here. Both were green and fine. So this is what we configured both the jobs in development and production same way. In the next step, we will see how we can connect them with pipelines and run them in a build pipeline successfully. So in last session, we saw about creating Jenkins jobs. So we had created two jobs in test and prod nodes, or we can say we had two slave nodes. Slave one was our test nodes, and slave two was our production node. So this was the version of final website deployed on prod node, and uh, this was our development on node or slave one. That was our test node. Right. So I'm just showing you these two websites which have different content, and this was our test and this was our final website. Okay, so now what we will do, we will create a pipeline to execute the series of steps that will run without human intervention, and that will be a complete automation from developers code commit and push to the GitHub till deployment to the test and production server. So let's see what CI/CD pipelines are before implementing them in our own environment. CI/CD pipelines, CI stands for continuous integration and CD stands for continuous delivery and deployment. And in correlation, this continuous integration, continuous delivery, and continuous deployment pipelines are a way of running Jenkins job in a sequence, and which resembles a pipeline view. So you can see we got number of stages, number of steps to implement from a code build till deployment. That will involve testing, configuration of the target machine, that will be configuration management, implementation of monitoring, and packaging of those software that are successfully built, then testing and deploying those images. So these are series of steps will be automated in the stages of a pipeline. So this is the overall concept of having a name pipeline, because it creates a pipeline of the series of steps that you are willing to execute from development till deployment to the user environment. So these initial stages can be build, package, test, and then deployment. And test will include deployment to testing machine as well, because on deployed version only you can perform test cases. So that's where the concept actually resembles to a pipeline created that is joined with the various stages of the execution steps you want to execute. So that's why this has been given a terminology of pipeline. So this is a similar example. You got a GitHub repo where developer is pushing their final version of codes in small releases. Then these are pushed by the or downloaded by the Git or you can say Jenkins job from the Git server to the slave nodes or target machines. Once downloaded, the codes are built based on the type of code or language they have been written, and once built, they are deployed and tested onto the target machines. So these are very typical stages that we have showcased here, but pipeline can involve any number of stages based on your requirement. They can be compile phase, build phase, testing phase, packaging phase, quality assurance phase, and then deployment, or maybe bundling, packaging. These all stages can be piped, and in actual pipelines, when you see in production environments or in large organizations, you will see even 10-15 stages or more available in a pipeline that will be doing and executing valuable steps that will be part of the deployment from development till releases. So this is where a pipeline actually named and meant with the development and DevOps stages. Okay, so now we have understood the concept behind pipelines. In the next session, we will see how we can create our own automated CI/CD pipeline to deploy the code from development till release. So let's see a demo how we can create a build pipeline. Here we will connect our production job to test and all the jobs. First, I will make a development job to trigger production job when it is successful. So the first step will be we both have jobs. We have both the jobs, sorry. And with this, we are going to connect them, right? To show you job to job triggering. So we have development job. I want to trigger development job, but I don't want to trigger production job manually. I want if development job is successful, it should go and trigger production job automatically. So in the first part, we will be doing this. After that, we will use GitHub webhook triggering so that whenever a developer makes some changes to the repository and push those changes to the repository, your development job also should get triggered automatically in the Jenkins environment. So that's end-to-end automation we will see through a build pipeline environment. Okay. So what we are going to do, let's go to the Jenkins console again. So we will try to connect our development job to production first. How we can do it? Let's go to development job, click on configure. You can also see this scenario explained well in the next slide as well. We will create in get webhook. That's something we will do again once we have connected development to production job, and then we will see this whole chain of auto triggering from developer push to the GitHub repository. Then it will trigger development job automatically, which will be triggered by GitHub webhook, and development job unsuccessful, it will trigger the production job, and everything will be done automatically till production environment. We are not doing anything. And for this build pipeline, we will also need a build pipeline plugin to be installed. So here we're gonna see how we can install a plugin to our Jenkins environment. Right, once everything is set up, we will as a developer we will make some changes to the code and we will see end-to-end triggering what we have done. So let's go to our development job here, which is demo, and enable it to trigger production job automatically. And how we can do it? We can also go and use triggering in demo prod job, production job, to get triggered as part of this job, which we are not using. Of course, there are multiple ways that we can do. We are going to trigger production job when development job is completed, right? So we can go to post build because this development job want to trigger production job as post build action. Means once this development job is completed, what it should do after post completion, that goes in this section. So you can do number of actions as post build action, right? You may want to collect all test results if it's a test pipeline. You may want to archive the build artifact that have generated. You want to build other projects. Other project means other job, other pipeline. This is something we will be using. You can do a lot of things. You may want to send email notification that this job is completed, this job has failed, right? That's what you might have seen in your company also. You get the job status, Jenkins job status in your email. That's something you can also do. You can create a Git status. You can also delete the workspace that you have cloned in your slave machine for hygiene things, for saving space, right? Everything you can do. I want to trigger my production job, which is another project of Jenkins, right? So I use this option. You provide your job name that you want to trigger, demo prod. It's just not one job you can trigger as part of post build. You can put comma and you can add more jobs here as well. So see, multiple jobs I can trigger. Don't put the same job name, otherwise it will always go in a loop then because it will start triggering itself. So you can trigger based on conditions. There are three. You want to trigger the production job if this job is stable, means development job is stable. That is something we want, right? We want to trigger production job only if development job is successful, stable. So this setting we will use. You can run on partial successful, unstable also, or you can run something on fail as well. Maybe cleanup job. So it depends what you want to do. I go with this setting and save. So let's go to dashboard and note the last number, build number, right? So last build number was 2 and 2 for both of the jobs. I want to trigger development job and production should trigger automatically. So let's play it from here. You can trigger from here as well. So this is this dashboard shows you which executors are available on which slaves. This is master, this is slave, this is slave 2, right? So if you check it here, refresh, you will see both the jobs number have changed. They executed. So this demo we triggered manually, but demo prod we did not trigger. But it was triggered by a development job because it was successful. So this kind of triggering we have already set up. And if we refresh the websites, we see that, yes, they are deployed well. So this one-to-one job triggering is working fine, correct? Now, the second thing is we want to trigger the development job also whenever there is a developer change in Git repository. And now you see GitHub repository is outside Jenkins, right? These jobs were inside Jenkins environment. So it was easy to make triggering one to other. But this GitHub repository is outside Jenkins. So this kind of triggering, if you want to implement, we have to do with GitHub webhook. And that's what I'm going to tell you now how to set up. So these GitHub webhooks are per repository. Okay. So you have to go, how you can do it. First of all, you should be admin to the, or you should have access to create webhooks. Means in short, you should have this tab activated for you, settings. So if this is your repository, you must have this access, right? So go to settings, you will see webhooks here. So if you click on webhooks, these are some old webhooks I want to delete. I will delete them. Right. So for you, it will look like this because you don't have any webhook now. Go to add webhook, click on this. And what you have to do in the payload URL, you have to copy your Jenkins URL, copy and paste them here. Paste the URL of Jenkins here. And you have to append here with GitHub webhook to let your Jenkins know it is coming from GitHub. Okay. Write GitHub webhook, GitHub dash webhook and put a slash also. This slash is also equally important. And remember, this is going to connect to Jenkins and trigger a job. So it must authenticate as well. And for that, it will require a secret token. Secret token of Jenkins user who will be triggering the job. How you can get it? You have to go to Jenkins again. This user or any user who is running. For now, in our Jenkins, we have one user only, but it can be any user you want to trigger from GitHub webhook. So if you want to do that, you have to go to that user, right? You can go from here as well because we have one user, or you can go to manage Jenkins, go to users. From this panel, I told you, you can create new user also. You can change password of existing user as well. I want my GitHub to use this user. Go to this user, click on this, and how you can configure, you can make changes to this user using configure option. Go to configure, and here you will see option to generate token. You can change email, you can change password of this user also, you can do anything for this user if you are admin. Right now, I want to generate secret token. How you can do? Click on add new token and generate. Again, this token is only available when you generate it and you can copy it. After that, if you have refreshed this page, you cannot retrieve this token. You can only regenerate. Okay, like personal access token in Git. So copy this token and paste it here. It's not copied, so let's copy it correctly. Select and copy, paste it here, right? And the good part of webhook also, you can restrict the access here as well. I just want it to run for push event, or I want to do it for any action on my Git repository. Send me everything. I want it to be selective. Whenever developer do some push event on my Git repository, then only I want to trigger this webhook. So this is safer one. Add it. The moment you add your webhook, it will do the test to Jenkins. It must show successful here. If it is not showing successful, that means your webhook was not created successfully. So check it out. So once it is showing successful, means your GitHub webhook is successfully set up. You can go to Jenkins and start triggering your jobs. But if you closely observe, this webhook is created. It is connected to Jenkins. but it doesn't know which job it should trigger. In your Jenkins, there might be 100 jobs, right? So in Jenkins side also, you have to do something. I want to trigger development job from this webhook, right? So the sequence here is my development. This is my GitHub repository. My developer is working here. Whenever he do a push, this should trigger development job, demo job in Jenkins, which in turn automatically trigger the production job because this we already set up through post build action. Only this part is missing. So this we are going to do. So in demo job, I have to do some changes in order to get it triggered automatically with GitHub Webhook. So let's go in Jenkins, open your demo job, go to configure again. One setting just you need to change. And what is that? Go in here in triggers. You go to trigger options and you have to select this option, GitHub Webhook triggering, and save your job. So this GitHub Webhook triggering is all done. Let's go in your webhook, go to code and make some changes. Suppose I go here and I have a test file, so I can edit it directly here. I can do from command line or I can directly edit this file here. Trigger pipeline or trigger job, right? Save it. Commit changes. You'll automatically commit and push your changes to the master branch. Done. So last build information was 3 and 3, right? 3 and 3. You will see if you keep refreshing, your GitHub webhook come in picture and it will start running your, it will trigger your demo job automatically. Do you see? This job is running build number 4 automatically. I didn't do anything. I just, as a developer, I made some changes to my code. And because of GitHub webhook, this demo job was automatically triggered. And this in turn triggered production job. So whole chain of sequence is already working. The code should be deployed again and I can see my website running in both development and production environment. So this is working end to end. But the only thing missing here is everything is working like a pipeline only. But there is a view missing, which I can add to have a better visualization of whole pipeline thing here. So what we can do, let's go to manage Jenkins and we will install a plugin to have that pipeline kind of view. So let's go to plugins and you have to go to available plugins to search for the plugin you want to install. I want to install build plugin, right? So the plugin name you can find in the runbook also. So the pipeline, the plugin name is build pipeline. You will find it here. Check it out and click on install. This will install the plugin. You can see this is installing the plugin and any dependencies if it has. Plugin should successfully install and then you have to go to my views. Here we will create our build pipeline view to see the triggering sequence in one place. You have to do that. Click on plus. We will create pipeline view, right? And select this pipeline view, which is coming because of the plugin we installed. Check it out, create it, and configure it. In build pipeline view, you should always select your initial job out of the list. You might have multiple jobs here. We just have two. And we know that demo job is triggering demo prod. So my initial job is demo, development job. Select it and say it OK. The moment you do it, you can see a sequence it is showing, right? It is showing that you can now clear. Before this, you are not able to see which job is triggering which one. But from here, you can clearly see this demo job is triggering production job by this arrow. The thing is, if I click on this run, you will see the whole pipeline will trigger automatically. So if you refresh it here, and the color green means jobs are successful. It should trigger. I'm trying to wait. Yeah. So you can see this demo job started triggering. Once it is completed, it will trigger the production one. See, so the blue means it is waiting for triggering. And if it is run again, see, this is also build number 5. So it triggered automatically. If I make some more changes here as well, the whole sequence will trigger again. Trigger again, right? Anything you can do that here. Commit changes. If you keep refreshing, in some time you will see this is also. So this triggered from the developer point of view. First this job and then this job is running. So that's what we wanted to show you in this Jenkins session.
So in this case, can can you scroll to the right, the three dots?
Just hold on. Should I do it or can you do it?
No, I'm doing it, but I'm not able to click. I think
Just I don't have control. You have the control.
Hello.
yeah. Hi, Pawan.
Right.
We are recording this session.
Okay.
Where do you want me to go?
No, not. Don't go here. Go to firewall. You just go to your VM instances. So, Pawan, you also need to do the same steps. Go to VM instances. Where is your VM instance?
1 minute. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether you can see it now? Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Click on these three dots.
Just hold on. Should I do it?
Yes. Yes. Please. Because I'm not able to.
Okay.
Maybe due to the network issue.
Okay. Now this one.
Yeah. View network issues.
Okay.
Go to firewall. Click on firewall. Left hand side.
Oh.
Yeah, it will open the same.
So I have given this as the rule. Jenkins 1.
Can you delete it? Delete it.
You want me to delete it? Okay. I had one more rule that is Jenkins. I have to delete that as well.
Please. These cloud environment, right? It is very strict in terms of security because now you can create on a new firewall rule. Create a firewall rule.
Create a file. Should I just name it Jenkins again?
Yes, yes.
Default.
You can come down. Ingress is for incoming traffic. Okay. In Google Cloud, ingress is for incoming traffic. That is very right. Allow. Can you specify the targets? Can you drop down? You need to check all instances in my network. Did you check it earlier also?
Yeah, yeah. Done all this.
Okay. And then can you click on IP ranges? Sorry, not no need of IP ranges. You just type in the source tag. Next.
This
Yeah,
one.
yeah. No,
This one.
no, no, no. Next. I mean to say the next tab. Source IP ranges. You can put 0.0.0 4 times 0.
Okay.
Okay. Forward slash and then 0. That is a
Okay.
CIC. Yeah. That is a CICDR range.
Okay. Okay.
You can come down. You can click on TCP and then 8080. Then you can create. You did it the same way earlier.
No, I had not given that 0.0.0.
Okay, that is for that will allow for all your networks. So
Okay.
can you go to your instance now?
Steps one.
Who Pavan, you are also following it.
Uh, yes, I'm also looking at the same step.
Anyways, we are recording this meeting so that I can share the recording to both of you.
Okay.
So just
Now,
click on that instance, client on 10. What is that? 35.188.177.41, right?
oh,
Can you click on that?
this is my master. I want it for this.
Okay, so you click here.
Yeah.
You can
Okay.
simply click on this link, that IP 34.69. Yeah, below. You can click. It will open a new window. Okay, nothing is there. So you can just add colon and 8080 here. No, HTTPS will not work. Only HTTP.
Right.
Yeah, perfect. Enter.
Oh, great, great. Now I'm getting it.
Okay.
Chalo, great. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. You
Thanks.
need that thing. I'll stop the recording.